Okay, I'm super excited. I got the one and only Boylos Crazy Carlos Smith, man. What's happening with you, man?
How you doing, man?
Man, I'm excited to have you here. I feel like you should be interviewing me,
man.
Because
that's usually
this is what he does.
Yeah, that's usually how it's going, but yeah.
The crazy part about this is that I know who Carlos is. A lot of you do, but there's a lot of people. I don't know why, but there may be some people who don't know who he is. So, could you tell us who you are and what you do?
Well, my name's Carlos Smith, aka Boylos Crazy. It's a radio moniker, I guess.
Yeah.
I do all type of events, from club events and teen events, from directing a drum line to running a studio, recording studio, photography studio. I do bar and bat mitzvahs all through the weekend, throughout the Jewish community here on the North Shore.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Anything media based, I do. We do anything media based. We try to get it locked in.
Basically, you do it all, man. We've been watching you and all that you do, and I'm excited to have him as a guest because we're going into February. As you know, February is Black History Month, as many call it, and so we want to acknowledge those who have done so much for us in the past, but I feel it's important for us, especially as far as legacy is concerned and youth and prevention, to talk about our youth, what really hits your heart, and you say to yourself, our youth are not getting it. How can you inspire them? What are you concerned about as far as our youth now?
Well, I think passion lacks a little bit with this generation. I think they're passionate. They may be passionate about certain things, but not the things that's going to kind of break the glass for them to kind of get them to new heights.
Okay.
I think my generation, we're millennials, but I graduated 10 years ago. Now, well, kind of 11 years, but 10 years now, and we had certain things that we were passionate about. This generation seems to be a little bit more passionate about things that probably won't necessarily break the glass. That's a terminology that I use, breaking the glass. When it's something that we've never been, it's a place we've never been before, so we challenge ourselves to kind of the pressure to break the glass. So I think now they're kind of missing passion in certain areas that they should be passionate in.
How do you bridge the gap between the youth of today and those of us who are a little bit older and we have wisdom, we're trying to talk to them? What makes them draw to you? How are you reaching the youth like that?
I think it's just, it goes back to my marketing niche, I guess, just the target markets. You know what I mean? You got to know what they want and know what it looks like. If you can look like it, sound like it, you could give them what they want. And then also putting that medicine with it, as maybe my grandma would say, putting the medicine with it to get the culture in it. That's how me and Josh literally bridged the gap.
Yeah.
Because he was the guy in the word, I would say, in the gospel, as they would say. But he was a cooler version of it, I guess. Kids would draw to him because he had on Jordans and a hoodie. And the same thing with me. I was still telling them what to do, what not to do, but I looked like them. So they're like, oh, okay, maybe I should listen to him.
Yeah.
So it was just knowing your target market, giving them what they want, and also giving them the real with what they want at the same time.
Yeah. Now, I've seen you out in the community. I've seen a lot happen. And you were able to give the youth a voice, because you were there, or Pastor Josh was there. You're staying embedded in the community. You've seen some of the youth leave us, so to speak.
Yeah.
They passed on. Something happened. What would you say is the need now to prevent the youth from either going to jail or dying, especially in the culture that you're so familiar with? What is the need for us how can we speak to them or even give them a voice?
Well, I think the opportunity is not there for them to explore themselves a little bit more. I think the hard part about it is living where we live at. Unfortunately, it will be casualties no matter what. And I think that's horrible to say, but I think that's just a reality, that some of them will just do it. Some of them will be a part of the streets. Some of them will take to guns, take to drugs, take to the streets because that's cool more than anything. So some of them will pass on just because they want to be in that lifestyle. And that's just what comes with the territory. But we need more opportunity for them to figure out who they are. I'm 30 years old at this point, and I'm still developing who I am as a man. You know what I mean? And I could attribute that to me not having a lot of opportunities to fine tune who I wanted to be. Who did I see Did I have opportunities to develop my drumming skills, my acting skills? Did I have places to go? We created those places for ourselves. But now there's no place to go for a kid in Lake County or the Tri-City area. There's not too many places for a kid to go and be able to be themselves without it being kind of cookie cutter and not, cool.
Now talk about entrepreneurship, because it's huge. Like, as you talked about niche market, for me, the formerly incarcerated, that's our market, and reaching people who come out of jail, they literally have to go into entrepreneurship. But the youth as well, to even stop them from getting into some of those problems, they have to even drop an independent album. They literally have to do for themselves, instead of going to the dope game. So how do you inspire the youth to now, because a lot of people don't want to work, and they should, but they consider Burger King is less than them. Facts. Which is sad, because Subway, I'm gonna do it, whatever. But how do you say to youth, okay, you don't have to work at Burger King, there's nothing wrong with Burger King, but you also don't have to necessarily work at the warehouse. You can create your own niche market, you can create your own business online, internet, whatever. So is there an avenue for our youth now to say, okay, listen, you can be an entrepreneur and be involved in finding purpose or your passion. Absolutely. And stay out the streets. What is that for them? What does that look like? I think YouTube plays a huge part in all of that. Like YouTube and Facebook. I think those avenues give everybody, like right now, even for the rappers, like you said, the difference between being a rapper and doing interviews is real simple. People have to really like your music to listen to it. But maybe they just like you, so that's why they'll listen to you talk. So I think kids now, all over the world, are kind of taking to YouTube and kind of taking the interview style and doing stuff and being a journalist, or just recording themselves throughout their day. They're vlogging. But it's a lot of kids in this area who don't, but they're now getting into it though, who don't experience that, who don't want to jump into that because they don't know it or they're scared. These kids, this generation, they're scared to be themselves. They really are. I'm doing a Black History program in North Chicago called Power on February 22nd. And you would be amazed how shy they are to sing and rap and dance. But this is their culture. At an all-time high, people are dancing and singing and rapping. But when you give them a job and say, hey, look, this is what we're going to do, we're not going to play about it, they're kind of like shy about it. So it's them being fearless too in jumping in it. They're probably scared. A lot of youth, I talk about this often, that you don't give them, or the community or society doesn't give them an ability to articulate. We try to, but they speak a different language. And so maybe we cut them off and say, I don't want to hear that. And because they can't voice their opinion or even speak as to what they're dealing with, then they lash out because they can't give themselves to you verbally. And so we really need to, I feel, we need to give our youth a voice. And so when I look at you, I know your mother, Vastoria Parker, a very strong woman who, come from the hood, and, just my sister, and just, when I first saw you, I didn't know that was your mother because you all seem like brother and sister. And she seems to me, Vastoria seems to give you a voice, that the person you are today, and we're going to highlight him and talk about many other youth at our February 28th event. But the person that you are today, she gave you a voice. And I don't know, moms and dads, sometimes it could maybe they feel like, man, you cramping my style, do you feel like that? But you just, when I see you and her in the same room, it's almost like brother and sister, but with respect. Coming from where she came from and the trials and tribulations that you all face, how did she give you a voice?
Well, I think we have a unique relationship. Like you said, it kind of feels like a brother-sister thing. But she, as a kid, she wasn't there. Right? She wasn't there. I was in foster care. She came back and got me and my sister when I was about, I want to say about 10 or 11. So I kind of rebelled against her being my mom. You know what I mean? Because this lady that I was living with was my mom to me. I called her mom and everything. So when she came back, it was, until to this day, it was a growing thing. It was like I was trying to figure out how to be a son to this mom, and I'm sure she was figuring out how to be a mother to a son that she had never had at this time. So it was, I think she's given my voice. She's given me my voice by molding me in a very unique way, because it wasn't about her just thinking like a mom. like a nurturing mother. It wasn't that at all. She was hardcore, like you said, like she coming from the street. So she gave me that, and I took that and put my own spice on it, and I guess that's who I am today.
See, that's so interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
And you know, the more you talk to people, you know, it's like if you let a person talk long enough, here's the you know, we always say this in jail, they'll tell on themselves. And it's like I'm hearing so much, you know, of the realities of what you face as a child, and I'm sorry, just I'm inspired by where you are today. And you know, when I look at myself, it's funny, somebody, if they ever see this from California, they'll look at this and say, man, that's Dante, he ain't, how's he like that now, you know? And it's like I'm a whole totally different person, was this way incarcerated, this way now, and it's really me. God changed me. And when I look at you, it's like, man, you literally have been changed, and hearing from where you come from.
Absolutely.
And so that, to me, the youth can look at you and not just talk about the past, and we have great Marcus Garvey and all those who led the way and who stood out, but look at our youth today. We have leaders today that we can honor and celebrate. And so, you know, for us, you know, I mean, in this generation, a lot of people say we don't have leadership. Even in the gangs, you know, me being affiliated, when we came up, it's like at a certain time, all the leaders were gone. So everybody branched off into their own little segments. So it's like even in the streets, there's like no leadership.
Right.
How do you speak to leadership? Are there any leaders? Are there any people that the youth can look to today and say, okay, you know, and even inspire to be? I want to aspire to be like Carlos.
Right.
You know, are there others out there that you could think of? The Brandon Ewings, you know. Who can you?
Well, I think to be a leader for youth today is tough.
Speak to that. Why?
Because you got to look, like I said, you got to look a certain way. You got to be a certain way. My time's almost up for this window. No, it is. You know, for that window, these kids. When I'm looking at 13-year-olds, 14-year-olds, my window of being that cool guy could be up. Because I might be getting to a certain age where it's not necessarily seem to be cool. I might stop dressing like that. I might, you know, so it might change. But leadership to kids now, the youth, the teenagers, the kids that are in high school, it means that you got to have money. It means that you got to look a certain way. You got to provide a certain service for them to look up to you in a way. You know what I mean? I think the times has changed as far as being a neighborhood leader, like being the guy in the neighborhood that's the leader on the block. He's controlling what's going on. Because I grew up, I remember being in the Robert Taylors, and I remember the buildings, and each building was obviously affiliated with a different gang, but it was organization. It was, even though it's drugs going on, but it was organization going on. It was like somebody was right there yelling, and somebody else was yelling over here about what they were selling. It was like a system. I'm like, this is crazy. You know, this is a Fortune 500 system we got going on. But obviously we in poverty selling drugs to each other, which is horrible. But it was leaders in those areas that kind of control what was going on. I compare that to say today, it's not too much product to be the leader about, and I'm only talking about this area in Lake County. I just went to the Martin Luther King Day breakfast. I was a lot of leaders there, huge amount of leaders there. Brandon Ewing, he got an award, but it was like him and maybe somebody else that was my age that got an award. So it's like, how much do we have to do, or is it not enough for those type of people to get awards? Is Brandon Ewing the only one his age bracket doing something that could be recognized? Could be from a political standpoint, but I don't know, man. I guess saying all of that, I still don't know what it would take for somebody to be a leader, to lead kids and be looked up at as like he's the guy, or he knows the right thing to do. I don't know. It's a good question.
I hope and pray that, you know, the youth of today, they find their own way, you know, that they remain different, that they become comfortable in who they are, because in that you have many leaders. You know, you have leadership in different areas. I found my market. You know, I found what God has called me to do. So I'm gonna talk like that. I'm gonna dress like that. This is me. This is my purpose. That may not necessarily appeal to you or whoever, but I think youth have to say, I found whatever it is for me. Even if you're wearing spiked hair or whatever, then you need to talk to some spiked hair people and not change up, because, you know what I mean? And you, I mean, I see you You mentioned Brandon, and there's others that we're going to be awarding. And
Vance D. Wyatt, some of the Vance.
Oh, of course.
Vance,
Of course, Vance D. Wyatt. And there's
Class of 08, got to
there's others. Now let's bring some of the young ladies in there.
Yeah.
Inchworm.
Let's
bring in, and Samia.
Yeah.
There's so many that I can't even, we can't bring it all in one. But it's good to know that we have a variety of leaders out there.
Yeah.
That, we have to begin to acknowledge them. And not just, I appreciate Black History Month.
Yeah.
But those 28 days, and there's history behind why we honor them for 28 days. But it's more than that. It's everyday history, everyday making history. Now, talk about some of the things that you're doing or getting ready to do, because you're getting ready to make history with some of the things you're doing. So talk about some of the things you're doing.
So we, again, the Crazy Ride Show's we're about to do a facelift with the whole show. Try to go nationally with the product and the content that we're creating on there. It is a local show. It is a local kind of fan base on there. We reach over 12,000 people a show, but we want to reach more people in other places. Also, we got a web series come out called The Book. Should be pretty cool. It's about a girl and a guy going through relationship issues on Facebook, and she wants to go public. He doesn't want to. They got some secrets that's going to get unveiled on the show, so it's pretty cool. The drill team, we're going to nationals this year in New Orleans in August, so we're gearing up for that. But also we got the Dancing Dolls competition coming up in about, I think it's like 12 days.
Okay.
So whenever this airs, it'll be maybe after or before. We're going to try to get that trophy. Last year we took second place. This year we want to try to take first place. We felt like we got a little snub, so we're going to go get that. So we're doing some things.
So you're going back to get that?
Yeah, we got to get that. We don't like losing nothing now. We ain't losing nothing.
I got you. I'm proud of you, man.
Yeah.
I think the community is proud of you. And there's some other things that you're doing. Talk about the vote. You did something last year that was crazy.
Yeah.
You did this video that was, and I'm gonna show it right now as we're speaking. You did this video that was just outlandish with community leaders, young people, and it was like a movie. Why did you do it, and tell us about that?
Well, it was shout out to the Just Do It _vote coalition. Myself, Yation, kind of led the video side of it, but it's a lot of people that was behind the scenes. Regina Briscoe, Daryl Drummond. I know I'm missing a whole lot of people. Phil, Drew, Brandon Ewan, Vance D. Wyatt. A lot of people that was a part of that whole process. So we tried to figure out how can we get millennials to come out and vote. And I was like, we're not moved by a guy getting in front of us kind of talking to us about why we need to vote. Of course, the past was the past, and Dr. King and they led the civil rights movement mainly to get the vote. And we understand that, we get that part, but that really didn't move us to do anything. So I wanted to put it right in their face. I want to put the reality right in your face on the video, that you could see something really. So I really wanted the video to be more harsher. I wanted to be very like, oh my God, this is on camera. But we decided to go that route and took the route that we took, and over 11,000 people saw it, so it's pretty cool.
It was pretty cool, and a lot of people don't know that President Obama got elected by our youth in the internet.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then they wouldn't know also that I wouldn't believe it, but Trump also appealed to the youth as well. And so there's something about the youth vote that we need to appeal to, and you appeal to them very well. Talk about now. I want to get candid with you.
Okay.
Not that we haven't been already.
No, you're good.
Talk about the average Joe that doesn't have you from where you came from. You had some hard situations that happened as a young person. There's somebody watching this that's probably young, and I want to speak to those who are watching this that are older, who are trying to bridge the gap. But those who are young, and they're saying, okay, this is great. I know Carlos, good interview, but I'm in a situation right now. Can you speak to them as to how they can get out of that situation and be where you are now? Because coming out of Robert Taylor's, you could have been a casualty.
Yeah, facts.
And so can you speak to that person that's watching, like,
For me, it's just about finding a goal that you want to get to. I know that kind of sounds real technical, but you know, I dreamed to always be Usher when I was a kid. I always wanted to be Usher Raymond, like when I was a kid. My sister loved him, so I always wanted to be Usher. Like I used to always dance and stuff in the crib. And and that dream still lives in me right now, and that's the reason why I keep going. Not to be Usher,
you want to be Usher? Okay, no, I just wanted to.
I mean, not to be Usher, but to be on that level of success, and have that much notoriety of the hard work that we put through. So again, back to that original question when you asked, what is it going to take for them to be passionate? Is to find out where they want to be at, like seriously, and that's not a thing where you got to read a book or anything to figure out. You can really sit in the room, turn off all the lights, don't, it's quiet, go somewhere quiet, and just listen to what happens. A lot of people say it would be, you know, God talking to them, a higher power. I believe in God, so I'm going to say yes, it is God talking to me, and I don't want to hear any other distractions. Some people call it meditating. I do that often where I just sit in one spot, don't move, and just listen to what's going on in my head. And I decide what I'm going to do with that. If it's bad, then I'm like, nah. But if it's something good and prosperous, I look to attack that and do that. And I challenge myself to produce it. So I think that's what, if you're lost, if you don't know what to do, you listening to this interview, you like, what is they talking about? I'm broke, I ain't got no money, I ain't got no car, I don't got nothing. The main thing you need to figure out is, hold on, you need to look around and see what do you have, one, and cherish the fact that you have that, and take that and build on that. You gotta be resilient. You can't be looking for excuses to say, well, I ain't got it, so I can't. No. I don't got it, so let me go get it, and that's why we got to keep going. We can't stop.
So you talking about taking lemons and making lemonade?
There you go.
I like that, man. And so in every situation, there's no complaint. I'm in this situation right now. I'm in this circumstance.
Absolutely.
And I'm gonna come out with what I got.
Yeah.
You know, I'm gonna play the hand I'm dealt.
Yeah.
Man, that's powerful.
I heard a story. Shout out to the King family. My coach, one of my favorite coaches, he said her mother told her, her father told her, you got 24 hours to feel bad. And then after that you're done with it. Like you got 24 hours of sulking, whatever you got to sulk in. And then after that is over with. Man, and I take that philosophy, and that's what I do.
Man, I got to ask you, you know, we're losing, I want to say we're losing because I watch my words and want to be very careful what I say. We have lost a lot of our youth in the past as far as trying to bridge the gap between the church, religion, and, you know, those who are in the streets, you know. They didn't come up like many of us came up, you know, grandma gonna make you go to church. Some of them, you know, their mama is like 20 something.
Yeah.
You know, or you know what I mean.
Yeah, I know.
And so it's like they didn't have what we have as far as you have to go to church. They don't know what we know. They may see something on TV and that's fake or whatever. And then they, you know, hear stuff in the streets. What is the appeal for somebody, you mentioned God. What is the appeal for somebody to actually draw to God, being in the situation they're in a situation like you were in, being a young person? And this will help out for many of us who are trying to reach the youth, especially, you know, as believers and you going to church or whatnot. How do we reach them? And they look at us like, okay, but I didn't grow up like you grew up. I don't know nothing about what you're talking about.
Right.
I want to hear from you, you know, what that looks like.
I think if you ask most kids do they believe in God, they'll probably say yeah. And I said that in one of my songs. Like they say his name all the time. They know who he is. They know who Jesus is. They know the Holy Trinity. They know church is church, and church is for, you know, worshiping God and fellowshipping with the people that's there. But I don't think that they are interested in the process of church. I'm not interested in the process of church at 30 years old. I made a live earlier before today with my son talking about if your church is not open if your church isn't open tomorrow for warming shelters, then we need to fix that. Because it's a lot of people who go to church every Sunday who tithe and give offerings, but the church is only open on one day, and or Bible study or maybe a choir rehearsal or something like that. But the churches, I think, and I don't want to be, and I'm not the church guy, but I think some churches have lost touch with the whole community, not just with the youth. I think that religion has took children out of church.
Wow.
Because and you know when Kurt Franklin says religious, I'm not religious or whatever. He's talking about the stigma on religion. He's religious,
Yeah.
but he's the stigma on religion and why it will take a kid out of church because he has on jeans and he may be sagging. You'll kick him out versus telling him to pull his pants up and go sit in the front of the church. You know what I mean? So I think that's where we lost our connection with these youth, because it happened to me. It happened to my generation first. Where we were kind of outcasted, like you can't come in here with this hat on, you can't come in with them pants on. She got on a too short dress. She got to get out. You know what I mean? I think those is where the separation started, and now it's just a huge disconnect. I mean, where they can't even. There's no way you could reach them unless you have like a really cool, down to earth system going on. You know what I mean? Because if it looks too much, they're gonna be like, "Oh no, we straight." You know what I mean? I go watch TD Jakes or something on TV or something. You know, I mean, that's how most of them think. You know what I mean? That's how I think.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't think it's church hurt because I haven't been involved in too many churches to be hurt. But with Josh's church, and he's now no longer a pastor at his own church. He still pastors, but he doesn't have SPM anymore. But I felt a connection with his church because it wasn't so technical and what it used to be. And there's a lot of churches like that. Shout out to Pastor Louis, who kind of has a unique way of attracting kids and doing what he's doing. A lot of people feel whatever they feel about it, but hey, he got them in there playing keyboards and drums. So,
Church of Joy is, I used to see those on the south side. You see them buses come through and just pick up now when I say they was picking up the wildest, I mean, off of,
Lennox.
I say no more. And I'm like, man, where are they going? And find out they're going to church. So I think that our ideal of church, the way you put that together, excellent.
Thanks.
I think that somebody could hear that and understand that. It's more so about relationship than religion. There's nothing wrong with religion, but when you're religious without relationship, in other words, it's one thing to just be dogmatic about my system. You can't come in here looking like that. As opposed to saying, man, I don't care how you come. You know what I mean? But when you get here, you know what? I got something that's gonna make you consider changing. If you hang out with me for a little bit, you'll know what I'm talking about.
You know what? I think this is probably a subject that I'm really, really passionate about, but I'm timid to jump into it with in a public forum because I'll get attacked by certain people. Because I do feel like if an abandoned building lives on a block where church is, that's not a true church. Because if and this is not any church, like a big booming church, let me be clear, I don't want like a small church, something that's just starting up, I get it. But if a church has been around for 25, 30, 50 years or whatever, pastor pulling up in a nice car, which he deserves because he's a shepherd, I get that part. But if they're not actually evangelizing, if they're not actually changing the shape of the neighborhood that the church resides in, I don't believe in that church. Not that I don't believe in God. I don't believe that the purpose is to affect change through God. Because we can preach inside of our four walls in the church. This is a church right here. For you could have church in here right now with a cross on the wall right here. So for a church to have, over 200, 300 members, and it's abandoned buildings up and down the block and homeless people out on the corners and stuff like that, I don't believe in that cause as a whole. I don't think if Jesus was alive today, he would be doing his work in the streets.
And you know what? You probably would catch some slack for saying that from some people. I tend to agree with you in this sense that if there is a burden in the community, I feel that if you see a church that has the ability to meet the need there, and they may have everything on the outside that looks like they can meet the need, but they don't have you.
Right. Okay.
And so I feel that what has to happen is that person needs to involve themselves, with that. I don't attribute fancy cars or whatever, big buildings to success. I attribute that to, it's a blessing, that's great, but success is when you're meeting the need, and embedding yourself in the community however you do it, but you need to be there somehow.
I agree.
And I think there are some people who are gifted that need to attach themselves to maybe this church that church, I don't care how big they are, they cannot do what Carlos can do. You know, it's amazing. You wouldn't believe it, but I'm so into people. I'm so into you, so into others who are gifted, and we don't realize how much power we have. You are the missing element to that mega church.
Let me ask you a question.
Come on with it.
How do you? Because this will answer my question that I always ask myself. How do I know how much I'm worth?
Wow, man, you are an interviewer, man. I just know you.
I just want to ask. I want to know that. How do I know?
How do you know your worth? Well, I'm gonna do this. There's two ways. I'm gonna do this in a practical sense, you know. But you know, to be carnally minded is separation from God. You're not. Let's talk about two different ways: carnally, practical sense, and then spiritually. Okay. How do you know that your worth? One, I believe that, you know, dealing with first natural, you have to go back to what you said. Understand what you have before you. That's where complaints come from. We're looking for something outside of ourselves, and we play I guess we compare ourselves to other people. You know, because this person has that, and then I don't have that, then I'm less than. It's not about what a person has or does not have. What do I have? And then be grateful for that. And then in that, on a practical level, being grateful leaves the door open for you to realize that, man, it's not over for me. You know, if you don't see within yourself that you have talents or gifts, there's some people who do some of the goofiest stuff on YouTube and become millionaires. Goofy. And it's like, I tell people in the jail all the time, I told some guys, and they was laughing at me, but I meant it. I said, some of y'all so goofy in here, but why not get paid for that? You know what I'm saying? Cultivate your goofiness. You know what I mean? There are people who get paid millions of dollars.
Kevin Hart
for being goofy.
Being funny.
Create a monologue. And when you they you know, I feel you. And that's where you understand what you have before you. Now, on the spiritual level, in spiritual sense, this is a little bit more easier. God created you, period. Period. God, he doesn't do anything for no reason. Regardless of how you got here, God has something to do with that. You can't enter into this realm without him having something to do with that. So he said, I'm gonna allow you to be on this earth. If he did that, you have purpose. And when you recognize that you're a son of God or a daughter of God, and that you have purpose, man, then you could become passionate. One of the things, I remember I was in Oakland, California on the lake, and I was getting high one day. Never forget this day when I was getting lit, blunt after blunt. And I was like, man, I stopped and said, why am I here? Like, I mean, it's saddening when you know that you could die and you don't know why what's the purpose of me even living? What did I do? You know, and now I'm in a place where I finally found, and I never thought that place would come. But I finally found out what God created me for. And so now I have purpose to wake up in the morning and stay up late at night and work and go after this thing. And this is my passion. Like, and so to answer your question, I believe in a practical sense, be grateful for what you have. There's something that you have that to somebody else. Don't compare yourself to other people. In a spiritual sense, God created you. Recognize that, and if he created you, God doesn't do anything for nothing. There's a reason you're here, and then that should give you some hope. I mean, does that?
No, I got you. Makes sense. I like that. That.
And I think that when our youth, you know, it's funny, we talk about the youth like they're aliens, like our millennials, our youth. Let me say something to you. We were once the millennials, youth, whatever you want to call them. And, you know, I never wanted anybody to treat me, you know, a handicapped person, I used to deal with taking people to dialysis. They don't want you to treat them like they're handicapped. They just don't. Don't treat me like I'm handicapped. Even though I may be, you know, talk to me like a regular person.
Absolutely.
You know, and I think that the youth, they want you just, you know, to recognize, talk to them. I don't care where you at. I don't care if you're in the hood. I don't care if you don't got no car right now, you're taking the bus. You got purpose. And let's identify your giftings. Let's identify who you are. And then let's make you strong in your identity. Walk in the room and man, let me tell you, they got the most confidence.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, they got the most confidence, and that's where we miss it. Why do we grow up and then lose it? We should be just as bold as them, because some of them will bust in the room.
Yeah.
And it's like, man, you crazy.
It's a social media thing too. A lot of people, the social media aspect of it is, it's so much right there in their phone that they could just figure out, that they don't have to really take time to learn how to do anything. I remember as a kid in Auguio Gardens, we used to build race cars. We used to actually like build them, like from Power Wheels, get a motor from a lawnmower, put it on there, figure out how to get this rubber thing, put the rubber on the wheel. We used to figure it out. We really figured out how to make it. Nobody taught us how to do this. We made it ourselves. But today, everything's so fast. Everything's right now. Knowledge is quick. Google, woo, woo, woo.
Yeah.
I think if your generation had the same thing that they have now, you would be affected the same way, kind of, maybe. But you're rooted in so much. You're rooted and foundated in so much work and so much hard work. Today, a kid doesn't have to work hard to be successful. Not the same.
They don't understand that language. So you have a way of communicating in a way that, okay, listen, for both sides. You know, because for me, I may think you're not working because you wouldn't create $1 million business off of YouTube, where I have to go from skit to skit. I have to speak all over. I have to campaign and do all this stuff to get a business up. And you just go on YouTube and become a success. We have to bridge the gap and say that's all of it's all good. Don't judge one or the other. You know, and make it palatable for everybody.
And that's why we call it the Bridge to Bridge. You know, the Bridge web series that we put out. We called it the Bridge because it was a task at we literally filming that show, and I know Josh talked about this on the show. We literally had 16 kids car to car driving to film this show at people's houses, in the parks, everywhere. So it wasn't that it was church. Josh didn't look at it like, okay guys, break out your Bible. He looked at the experience in this moment. You'll never forget this because you're doing something you like. But I'm also giving you this gospel in a way through this show that as your character you would probably understand, that you'll get on any other level. So even today when it's sad, but when one of the kids that was on the show, kind of like if one of them had a baby or something, somebody would get on Facebook, oh, one of the Bridge girls got pregnant, because they were looked at as like a it was a spiritual show, but they were looked at as like a beacon, and that was what we wanted. But they're still human. They still make mistakes, and even though having a baby isn't a mistake, but some people would look at that as like, oh, she's pregnant at a young age, and they would kind of take shots at that. But that just showed us that we were doing it the right way, and still giving these kids an opportunity to be an admirer and influencer, because they were getting chased all over the place, the mall, they couldn't go anywhere without getting chased. But it was a lesson in all of that we were teaching them how to bridge the gap and be the bridge, not necessarily look for somebody to give you anything. Help us meet you halfway right here so that we can walk to both sides.
That's it, man. And the Bridge is coming out. That series, the book is coming out when?
That'll be out in, maybe it'll come out in, we're looking at March right now, maybe late March, early April.
Yeah, because we need that. And I will be tuning in. I'll be subscribing to the channel. If you can, tell us a little bit about how we can get in touch with you, or what you're doing, or how we can see what you're doing. And before you get to that, going back to that young lady who had that child, the Bible talks about consider yourself. Let me just say this. I pray that as we're trying to build our youth up, and try to prevent them from getting into situations that they shouldn't, I pray that we consider ourselves, that we were once that person. And I think that it's easier to talk to somebody. You'll change your tone when you look in the mirror.
I like that.
And realize that, man, I did the same thing, if not worse.
You
know, but sometimes we don't look at ourselves. So we instantly snap. Oh, that's terrible. Oh, stop. Consider yourself before you do that.
But you know what? Not to prolong it, but it's so many. And I don't want to say this, but I am going to say it. It's so many people who don't have opportunity to be happy about what they created in themselves. So they find reasons to demote somebody to feel good about themselves.
Wow.
So I feel like that's one of those things. Like, if you were busy winning for you, you would have no reason to say anything bad about anybody else.
Man, look, man, you gonna have this show continue
Yeah,
on
no, seriously.
because because that's the reason why people throw shade.
Yeah.
Because if you realize that you shining, when you see Carlos shining, he doing shows, he doing all this stuff, congratulate him,
Yeah.
build him up, and man, how can I be a part? But if you're not shining, whatever, his light is too bright for you, and then you want to throw some shade. That's why they call it shade.
Yeah.
Let me throw some shade on that. It's too bright.
Yeah.
We got to stop that.
Absolutely.
You know, and build each other up.
Yeah.
And especially, let me say this since we're going to Black History, man, you did this.
Yeah.
Since we're going to Black History Month, that's prevalent in the Black community. We tear each other down. Especially, I don't know what this thing is. We have to stop that. Build your brother up. Let him be successful. Let them, like they say, let him be great.
Yeah.
What's wrong with that? That's not taken away from you.
Yeah.
You
They
know?
feel like it though. I mean, a lot of people feel like it's too much for me to give you props because then I have to worry about somebody giving me props, and if somebody don't give me props, then I'm gonna feel bad. But you know, it's a selfless thing to congratulate somebody. You got to really be doing that for them. You could be doing it for yourself too. Stretch told me that once. He said, I often do things for people for myself. And I was like, wow, that's deep. He said, I often do things for people to help me continue to build on who I know I want to be. And I was like, that's deep, because it's a good deed no matter what. You're doing it out the kindness of your heart. But the fact that you can honestly acknowledge that you're doing it to build yourself as well is even more realer through the process, that you're not being fake about why you're attributing to somebody's life. And I think that's dope, that he could be honest and say that, because most people won't do anything.
Yeah.
They'll go the opposite way and say, I don't like you or whatever, because of whatever.
Yeah, let's stop doing that. Let's stop being insecure. Stop talking to people. Come on in, Blaine.
Yeah, great job, son. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Let's be more considerate of who we had before us, and and let's allow people to be pioneers and build them up. I want to hear from before we wrap up.
Yeah.
You want to tell us how to get in touch with you and what's going on? And
yeah, you can always go to the website www.boyloscrazy.com. You can see what everything that I'm doing on that.
How do you spell the boy? Because
boy, BOYLOS, crazy with a C.
Okay, gotcha.
You could always go in there and see kind of stuff that we're doing, flyers, birthday parties, or whatever we got going on. Also, the Crazy Riot Show. The Crazy Riot Show is on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, whatever you want to do. You can follow me, Boylos Crazy, on everything. It's Boylos Crazy, BOYLOS Crazy, on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, whatever you want to do, hit me up. Yeah, that's, if you want to write a letter, 2835 Belvedere Road, Suite 303.
If y'all don't get in touch with this man, we gonna continue to promote you and others like you.
Yeah.
And I don't care who don't like it. Look at this success story.
Yeah.
Check them out, and build them up and be happy for them. And look at today's youth. We're going places, and I thank you for being one of the ones that inspire youth and prevent them from even getting to a system that they want to be involved in for the rest of their life. Man, I bless you, man.
I appreciate you.
Love you, bro.
Absolutely.
Okay, we'll talk soon.
Yes, sir.
This my guy, Boylos Crazy.
Y'all be smooth.
Carlos Smith.
We gon' turn up when score, it's what me what do, real, what do, what me what do, We gon' turn up when score, it's what me what do, you do it, people score, it's what me what do. It's the lead, it's the bread, rock your thing, Josh, what's good, let's go. We gon' turn up when school, yeah, that's how we do it. You carry twos, you need to move, man, that's not how we do it. We ain't stupid, we just score, yeah, rock some true. You can do it how we do it, but you ain't gon' do that too. But you ain't gon' do that too. But you ain't gon' do that too. You can do it how we do it, but you ain't gon' do that too. But you ain't gon' do that too. But you ain't gon' do that too. You can do it how we do it, but you ain't gon' do that too. God on my side, man, you know I'm ready. These haters hating cause they know I'm ready. Devil on my back trying to take me down. No, I ain't gon' go, no, I ain't gon' take me down. Yeah, not on my mind, not enough time, you know I'm gon' make it. Yeah, the devil disguise, just open my eyes, I know he be fake. Yeah, I know I be gon' lie. Everywhere I go, so I keep it close. Everywhere I go, turn up when school, yeah, that's just how we do it. You carry twos, you need to move, man. that's not how we do it. We ain't stupid, we just cool, yeah, rockin' some true. You can do it how we do it, but you ain't gon' do that too. But you ain't gon' do that too. But you ain't gon' do that too. You can do it how we do it, but you ain't gon' do that too. But you ain't gon' do that too. But you ain't gon' do that too. You can do it how we do it, but you ain't gon' do that too. Rock your day, turn it. It's okay to turn up. Do your dance, man, I know you wanna. Rock your day, let's turn up. It's okay to turn up. Do your dance, man, you know you wanna.
Rock your day, turn up. It's okay, we turned up. Do your dance, girl, you know you wanna. Rock your day, turn up. It's okay, we turned up. Do your dance, girl, you know you wanna.
No shout, uptown, the Z, let's get it, get it. Girl need waist like Brown Lake, if you with it, let's get it. Yeah, we about to turn up right here. Lake County, what's good? Shout out. We gon' do it like this, watch this. Yeah. Hold up, hold up, hold up, hold up. Do your dance. Stop. Why you do the nay-nay? Hold up, hold up, hold up, hold up. Do your dance. Why we do the nay-nay? Shot rack, them on none of that. Shout out shoulders, we gon' take it back. Do it right, you can make it stack. Watch you like Cinemax. Watch you like Cinemax. Yeah. Watch you like Cinemax. Let's go.
Oh, y'all better get ready. I don't think y'all ready. You know what we gotta do about right now. That boy Los Crazy is crazy. You better rock your day. Go ahead and bop a little bit. You know what we do. It's all for God and it's all good. Let me see you do what you do.
We in school, yeah, that's how we do it. You carry tools, you need to move, man. That's not how we do it. We ain't stupid, we just cool, yeah, rock some true. You can do it how we do it, but you ain't gon' do that too. But you ain't gon' do that too. But you ain't gon' do that too. You can do it how we do it, but you ain't gon' do that too. But you ain't gon' do that too. But you ain't gon' do that too. You can do it how I do it, but you ain't gon' do that too.